There are two mistakes almost everyone makes during a heat wave. The first is buying an entire new skincare routine, and the second is not changing anything at all. The sweet spot is somewhere in the middle. So today I'm walking you through my current routine. Not because I think you should copy it, but because every single step reflects a change I think is worth making. So don't copy the products, copy the thought behind them. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Dr. Anne, a medical doctor here to teach you how to best take care of your skin and general well-being. I don't cleanse in the mornings year round because I feel it just dehydrates and strips my skin. But during the summer, especially during a heat wave like the one we are living through now, I wake up with a layer of grease and sweat on my face. In Germany, we don't have air conditioning in our bedroom, so it is quite hot because I live right underneath the roof, and this layer of sweat that I get through the night needs to be removed, otherwise it would lead to breakouts, which means for me introducing a morning cleanse. I also switch the texture of the cleansers that I reach for. I don't go for the lotion balm types that I prefer in winter, but I switch to something more gel-like and foamy because I feel it just gets better into all the nooks and crannies and lifts all the gunk out of my pores. The one I am reaching for right now is the Beauty of Joseon Green Plum Refreshing Cleanser, which has a really nice firm foam and is absolutely non-stripping, because that still is very important to me, to not strip my skin from extra hydration. Exfoliation during the summertime can be quite tricky because with the sun and the heat and the sweat and wind and maybe air conditioned areas, the skin is underneath quite a lot of stress already, and frequent exfoliation can aggravate that. At the same time, again, the sweat, the heat can lead to more congestion. So for me, that means adapting the way I exfoliate and the frequency. I stop exfoliating with glycolic acid, lactic acids, generally AHAs, and focus solely on BHAs like salicylic acid. And with the salicylic acid, I increase the frequency. So I am still using the BHA I use year round, the Paula's Choice Skin Perfecting 2% BHA liquid exfoliant, but I increase the frequency to 3 times a day and stop using another exfoliant altogether. That might be different for you. I am just blessed with pimples and congestion up to the ripe old age that I have reached now. If that is not you, you might not need salicylic acid, but could maybe just reduce the frequency with which you exfoliate or switch to a lighter strength so you don't aggravate and irritate your skin. For me, hyperpigmentation is a huge concern year-round. I grew up in the 80s, and back then getting a tan was the thing to do. I have used tanning baths in the past because I just didn't know better. I spent my days outdoors trying to tan as deep as possible, and yeah, I don't know, we used like SPF 5 back in the days. My skin has the sun damage and the hyperpigmentation to show it, and I'm fighting a constant battle. But hyperpigmentation treatment is a multi-step concern, and many of the things that target hyperpigmentation can also be quite irritating, especially when mixed together. So I switched from treating my hyperpigmentation to trying to prevent new hyperpigmentation during the summer months, to just give my skin a break. And for me, that means I like to do something that stops new melanin from being produced, like a tyrosinase inhibitor. And the one that I reach for basically year-round is vitamin C, the Geek and Gorgeous Sea Glow 15% ascorbic acid serum. Now, there are other tyrosinase inhibitors that you can use. It doesn't have to be vitamin C if you don't get along with that, but this is absolutely, I love the texture, it's lightweight, it doesn't irritate my skin, it is great. Now, vitamin C is nice, but obviously the most important thing to prevent hyperpigmentation from forming is wear sunscreen. And I use sunscreen year round, but I don't use the same sunscreen year round. I change textures and products. And in the summer months, there are two things that are really, really important to me. The first one is reliable protection, even when I'm sweating and outdoors. And the second one is absolutely lightweight texture, because I just can't with a lot of products on my face. Sadly, I have not found one that matches both categories perfectly. So I look every day which part is more important to me. If I know I'll be working out outdoors, spending a long time outdoors, maybe I'm at the beach, maybe I go for a hike, I choose reliable protection, and for that the La Roche-Posay UV Immune 400 SPF 50 plus is the one that I go for. This is not lightweight like the others that I'm going to show you are lightweight. You don't apply it and forget it, but it's still reasonable. It's not uncomfortable to wear, but it is water resistant, which means it won't start running off my face the second that I start sweating. So this one for outdoors. And then for the days when I just commute by bike to the office, spend the whole day indoors and then commute back, and can't imagine how slow I can go on a bike to prevent me from breaking a sweat, I reach for more lightweight formulas that are not water resistant but just feel like nothing. And the two that I have currently on rotation is the Geek & Gorgeous Zero Feel SPF 50 plus, which you can feel it when you apply it, but it is, I don't know, it just disappears. You don't feel anything and it has a very natural finish. And the other one is the Beauty of Joseon Relief Sun Aqua Fresh Rice plus B5. There is another version without the Aqua Fresh that is more hydrating that I prefer for the rest of the year, but this one is again really lightweight, feels like nothing on the skin. For most of the year I do my skincare in the morning and then again at night, and don't think about applying anything to my face during the day. But in summer I feel like the heat, the sweat, I need to refresh, and for that I use face mists. Don't get me wrong, I don't use them and think they will have a skin benefit. I don't care if you have a very expensive one or if you have just a thermal water spray that you got from your local drugstore. It's just about the refreshing layer of something cooling that evaporates off your face and makes you feel less flushed and hot and sweaty and gross. I have three. I keep one in my bedroom. This is the Geek & Gorgeous Liquid Hydration. This is the most hydrating one that I have, but again, I use it for refreshment and not for the skincare benefits. Then I have another one at the office that I can't show you, and this is from Maizama. This is the Green Rooibos Our X Vaporizator Mist, I think. Apparently it has a ton of antioxidants, but it just really has a nice fine mist and a lovely tea scent. And the last one, the most indulgent one, is the Omorovica Queen of Hungary mist. Very, very, very expensive. You absolutely don't need something that expensive, but it has such a fine, oh yeah, such a fine mist, and it smells so good. So I keep that one at my desk here at home. One is plenty. You don't need to have a variety, and doesn't have to be expensive. Any thermal water spray will do. The second thing I do throughout the day that I don't usually do year round is cleanse immediately after a workout. I tend to work out late afternoon or evening, so for most of the day I quickly shower off my body so I don't go all around all gross and stinky and sweaty, but leave my face be until I do my evening routine where everything comes off. I absolutely cannot do this during the summer months. I don't know if it's that I sweat more or if it's that the heat is doing something, but if I don't get everything off my face within the first half an hour after the workout ends, I will end up with congestion and pimples like the day after. So I make a point to cleanse my face, maybe just with a microfiber cloth, maybe with some micellar water, and then spray my face with a hypochlorous acid spray. This one here is from Briotech, but there are a ton of different ones out there, and they help prevent bacterial growth and all that. Works great on your face, but also works great underneath the areas where your sports bra sits. If you're like me and need like a heavy duty sports bra and that gets all sweaty, where the band sits here and here, I tend to get breakouts, but if I spray them with this one, it really won't happen. My evening routine reflects the changes, but doesn't change that much. I still use like a balm cleanser, the Geek & Gorgeous Mighty Melts, to take off my makeup because I feel these do it the best. And then I opt for a more refreshing foamy cleanser other than the lotion-based ones that I use during the winter. The one that I'm using right now is the Vergreen Rice Facial Wash Cleanser. You absolutely don't need two different ones, one for the mornings and one for the evenings. I just happen to have a ton of cleansers, so I have one, and I keep my skincare in little baskets, so I just have to pull out one basket and know this is my evening stuff. Don't have to sort through everything that I have. No decision fatigue here. So this is the one that I use at night. Again, not stripping. That is very, very important to me. Then I follow up with a toner. I have two different ones. First one is the Abib one that I have been using during the colder months as well. I showed you in my spring skincare routine. And I use that one for a layer of lightweight hydration, and on nights where I use retinoid, I use the Balea Beauty Expert Calming Toner, which I realize has not yet its own review. It contains ceramides and calming amino acids, and I find it really like soothing, taking down redness. So I like it because I feel like it gives my barrier a little boost before I use retinoid. Then I use, for well aging, the Geek and Gorgeous Power Peptides. And then I use a moisturizer. And I know that one of the most heated debates in the online community is, does everyone need to use a moisturizer year round? And I think yes and no. Every skin needs hydration year round, but that doesn't mean that you need to buy a product that says moisturizer. It's not about the name of the product, it's about how it is made. I have had serums that feel like a lightweight moisturizer, while I had moisturizer that feel like a hydrating serum. So it's less about the name, it's about the hydration, and then that depends on your skin type and the climate you live in, the amount of occlusives and emollients that's in there. I tend to focus on something that is rich in humectants and has less occlusives. And right now I am either using the Skin 104 Hyaluronic Sleeping Pack. You know, says sleeping pack, is basically a gel moisturizer, very hydrating but not suffocating. And for the tretinoin nights, I switched to the Dr. Sam's Flawless Moisturizer Balance. I can't tell you too much about it because I've only started using it like 2 weeks ago, but I've used the Flawless Intense one during the colder months, and this one is basically the same key features but in a more lightweight texture. So I enjoy it for the tretinoin nights in summer. So again, depending on your skin type and your climate, maybe use something that is lighter than the ones that you would use during the winter, but use one, look how your skin feels. If your skin feels like dry, dehydrated 2 hours after you applied it, then you need something heavier. If your skin feels suffocated, you can go another step lighter. It doesn't have to say moisturizer. Doesn't matter, it's a serum or sleeping pack or gel or whatever, just use what feels right for your skin. Something I don't change is my tretinoin. I am on prescription because, again, adult acne, have had it since I turned, I think, 12 and never got rid of it. So this is a medication and I don't stop it during summer, just like I don't stop any medication I would take for, I don't know, diabetes, high blood pressure. And I don't recommend you stop your retinoids, even if you use them for just well aging. But again, I know it's an ongoing debate, so here's my point. Yes, using retinoids and exfoliants makes your skin a little more sensitive to sun exposure. So you could argue that in the summer you have more sun exposure, so you should stop them. But the amount of increased sensitivity is small. It's not that if you lay outside in the sun without it, you don't burn at all, and with it you burn within the first 5 seconds. It's just a tiny amount, and you should be diligent with your sun protection year round, but especially in summer if you spend more time outdoors. So if it's a medication, don't stop your medication, talk to your doctor, and make sure that you use adequate sun protection, not only in form of sunscreens, but also in sun smart behavior, wearing hats, seeking shade, everything that comes with it. And if you use it for well aging, if you don't protect your skin from the sun anyway, a retinoid won't help you much in well aging, because sun exposure is the main driver of premature aging. Protect against that, or no amount of skincare that you apply afterwards for the rest of the year will be able to make up for that. And maybe that's the most important summer skincare change. Don't change too much. Stick with your basic routine and just tweak it. Adapt frequencies, adapt textures, but don't change everything. If you surprise your skin with a new routine 4 times a year based on calendar changes, this is an absolute recipe for disaster. Now please tell me, which one of these changes will you implement or already have implemented into your summer skincare routine? And if you enjoyed this video, you will most likely enjoy the ones linked on the screen. Don't forget to check out the description box for everything else I have to offer, and like and subscribe so you don't miss the next video.